Well, hello everybody and Happy New Year to you and your family. I'm excited and grateful to be here for all of 2026 to give you guys the latest and greatest on the Calgary real estate markets. So let's go ahead and dive into it. We're hearing a lot of news now about pipelines. Finally, after years and years and years of talking about needing these, we're actually getting some momentum. So Alberta's now examining several different routes through British Columbia, along with the federal government, to put a new pipeline in to get oil sands bitumen out to the West Coast. Okay, so this is part of the Memorandum of Understanding that was signed between Alberta and the federal government last year, and Alberta intends to get a proposal into the federal government by the summer, by July. Okay, so this is a start or a sharp turn from all of the obstruction and hyper-environmentalism that has largely dominated the news surrounding pipelines for the last decade or a little bit, or basically the entirety of the Trudeau administration. That's certainly changing up now with Donald Trump's second term and how he has been positioning the United States. And recently now, we've seen with the United States basically taking over Venezuela and looking to take control of their oil reserves. This now means that they might not need the oil that we have and the pipelines that do exist heading down to the Gulf of Mexico and Texas to be refined there. We may not be getting the same deal from the United States that we were used to. So it means that we need to hurry up and get another pipeline built so we can access more markets. And this is an article from the Globe and Mail, which is very much in the back pocket of the Liberal government. It's always been very left-leaning with respect to its coverage on energy and particularly anything related to Alberta, really. But in this article, they're talking a lot about how we need this pipeline and we need to hurry up and get it built right away. And so this, of course, is to build public consensus and to get support out there for this so that we don't see all of this obstructionary language from the BC Premier and First Nations and all of that. So all of this stuff, in my view, is really, really positive for the Alberta energy industry and by extension, Calgary. A little bit more good news, very quietly, but our brand new arena is now halfway done. So this is expected to be finished for 2027, the start of 2027's NHL season. So early in the fall of 2027, we're hoping that this is completed for then, and it's going up now. You can see that, and we're on track. Now, in other news, less exciting and much less sexy in terms of construction, we've had another water main break on 16th Avenue right in the Montgomery area. And so I think we're going to see more of this. Those I know that are familiar with this stuff, engineers that work in this space, say we're not out of the woods yet. We're going to see more of it. And this is what happens when you wait too long to go and upgrade infrastructure. You get bursts like this. So we're going to be back in there fixing it again. And I suspect we'll hear more and more about this, but unfortunate that it's happening now, but certainly glad that we jumped on top of it and we learned some lessons from the break that happened a year and a half ago. And hopefully this is one is a little bit smoother for everybody that lives in Bowness and in Montgomery. Okay, let's get into the market update here. This is sponsored by our other company, which you may know about, Greenleaf Property Management. So we look after rental units in the Calgary and area. We look after single units, condos, townhouses, multifamily units, all of that sort of stuff. And this is becoming a bigger and bigger issue, not just in Calgary, but across all of Canada because of the affordability crisis. It's had people renting out their units for longer periods of time and starting families in rental units when we might not have seen that previously. So Greenleaf is there to help anybody out that's got a rental property or maybe even an accidental landlord. If you're having trouble selling your property in a market like this and you're looking for an alternative, reach out to us. We'd be happy to help you out and see if we can't find another way or another answer for your property problem. Year over year, rents in Calgary have come down. This is a result of all of the supply that we're seeing, okay? And you can see it a little bit more clearly in this graph, which shows the reductions in rents that we're seeing for 1 bedrooms have come down quite a bit and 2 bedrooms have come down too, but 3 bedrooms and bigger seem to be doing okay, all right? They're not really changing all that much here in the last year, and that's just because of all of the new construction for new condo buildings and new multi-purpose built multifamily rentals are driving down down the rent rates for 1s and 2s. All right. And this is being mirrored not only in Alberta, but you can see it in BC and also in Ontario. The same type of trend is existing there now. The rental market is softening a little bit. So renters are getting a break, and they probably deserve it after all the increases that we've seen here in the last couple of years. Now, Calgary is still in a great place with respect to affordability. Only Edmonton is cheaper than us out of the 6 largest markets across the whole country. We're still quite affordable compared to Toronto and Vancouver, and that's why people keep moving here, right? So even though we've got a slow real estate market, and the stats that I'm going to show you don't paint a rosy picture either, but we're still very affordable, and we've got lots of good news on the headlines with respect to pipelines being built and major projects that will surround all of that. That's all really good news. Okay, so let's dive into the sales statistics here now. So last month we were down 5% year over year by to an average selling price of $559,000. We're down a little bit more based off of December's data, basically still 5%, but now down to $555,000. Okay, so this is coming down to a tale of 2 different markets. You talked about it on the channel before, but if you look at the reductions in the detached pricing and the reductions in the semi-detached, it's a lot different than what we're seeing in the row and apartment segments. Okay, so it is these densified units, these 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom condo complexes and these, row townhouse complexes where you'll see a whole pile of them strewn together. Those are the units that are being brought to market from new construction right now. And that's what's driving down the overall pricing picture more so than the existing real estate landscape in Calgary of the detached and semi-detached, really not moving the needle all that much, around that -2% or so, which is not that bad at all. You can see here from this graph that the news is going to get worse in the months to come. Okay, right now, we're at the bottom of where we would have been this time last year. Historically, December is the slowest and worst month for both pricing and sales, but usually we gain momentum to start the year as we did last year. But if we do that, you'll see that the pricing went up in the first couple months of 2025, but right now their prices are falling right now. We're not seeing that trend. So if we don't see a reversal in the sales market that we've got right now, you're going to see more than 5 or 6% as reductions in overall value or sales prices rather, when we do the market update next month and the month after that. And the reason why I don't think that that's likely to change is the sales price to list price ratio continues to grow. Okay, so what this is sellers having their asking price, and then buyers are coming in with offers lower and lower and lower, and they're getting it. And that's what you're seeing with these lines that are moving down. It's that difference in between asking price and selling price. And that's really the bleeding edge and the leading indicator of what's happening in a real estate market. Where are they going? So if this starts to tighten up, then you might see some recovery within our market. But since it continues, as spread continues to increase, I don't think we're going to see this pop that we saw at the beginning of last year. I think we're going to continue to see prices come down a little bit because we just got too much new supply coming to our market all very quickly right now to really buck that trend. Okay, and you can see here the month's worth of supply. The one bit of good news that I like about this is that we've kind of leveled out. We're in a buyer's market, but it's not a crazy buyer's market. Okay, it's really just the other end of the strong seller's market that we had here for nearly 4 years. Okay, so we're around 3.5 months worth of supply right now. That's really not all of that bad. It can be made up very quickly in a hot spring market or good news on the economic front. Anything like that would bring us back into balanced territory. But for now, we're in buyer's market territory. So great time to get a good deal out there and come off the sidelines if you've been waiting for that. Here again, you can see the tale of 2 markets, right, with the apartments and rows, particularly in the east and northeast part of the city. Okay, those are the areas that have just got a shock of supply coming to them that's skewing the overall numbers, right? So if you look at the detached segment, really not all that far from balanced territories. In fact, many markets are below that, or in sellers markets, in fact, but apartment and row markets a little bit different. Pricing, you can see here, look at the apartment pricing. A condo is the same price anywhere in Calgary right now. Nobody wants to pay much more than 300 grand for a condo. So that's segment of the market, very affordable here at present. And then the detached and semi-detached, very healthy markets. Row townhouses, still pretty affordable, good markets there, but nowhere near as uniform as the apartment segment is. You can see here the year-over-year price growth for these segments. Detached not really coming down all that much, but apartments way down, like more than 10% cheaper this year than they were last year for the northeast part of the city. Okay. okay? So if you're looking for a good deal, that's where you're going to find it for sure. And thank you again for all of your support for last year. Very excited to do it all for you guys again here this year. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you guys next month.